Hey there guys, welcome back to AFC Game by Game. This is my review of Arsenal 2, Chelsea 0. The game yesterday was fantastic. It was what we needed exactly at this point in the season, given that we were quite down in the dumps following that victory against West Ham, following quite a few outsourced performances. The performance yesterday was exquisite and the result was just the icing on the cake, really. You just can't help but wonder, after a game like that, why couldn't we play in that way, in that system against West Ham last week? Because if we had, there's no doubts we would have won that game. It goes for the exact same in the games against Brighton, against Southampton, against Wolves at home, where we've dropped silly points where we shouldn't have done. But that aside, the most important thing is we're right back in the mix for the top four now. Not that we were ever really too far adrift from it, but this really does solidify our position as a top four contender, which is exactly what we needed. It's going to be so tight. It's going to be so incredibly difficult getting a top four finish this season. We're 3 points behind Chelsea now, who are, based on yesterday's performance, they don't look good at all. We've got United, who seem to be in a new lease of life, and they're really breathing down on X, only 3 goals behind us on goal difference, so that's going to be incredibly tight. That game on Friday, even though it's the FA Cup, holds so much significance. If we beat them, that'll put us in a really good position to beat them at home in the Premier League in a few months' time. So massive game, that massive game. And Tottenham as well, without Harry Kane and Heung-min Son for the next month or so. I mean, they're going to be dragged into this top four battle as well. They won't like it, but we're very realistically in with a chance of finishing above them, which didn't seem too realistic not too long ago. But that is only on the basis that we play in the manner and the fashion that we did yesterday, because it was fantastic. We didn't exactly dominate the game. We conceded possession, but we played in a way that was just perfect for the system that we implemented. It was the first time in a long time that I've seen a system beforehand in the team sheet, and I thought, okay, that makes a lot of sense. We seemed to line up in a 4-1-2-1-2 formation, which was just perfect. It allowed every player to play to their strengths. The back four, question marks over it initially. 2 natural fullbacks in Kolasinac and Bellerin, who love to bomb forward. We know that maybe they aren't the best defensively. Kolasinac had a few haphazard moments, but going forwards, when he's bearing down on goal, I don't think there's any better fullback in the league. He's just so powerful. He's got such pace and athleticism. He is great going forward. Defensively, if he can improve that area of his game, he will be one of the best left backs in the league. I just really hope that he's able to improve on that going into next season and for the latter stage of this season. Of course, Bellerin on the right hand side, who's just coming back into form, was brilliant, and his loss, which will seemingly be for the rest of the season if he has done his ACL, either way, looks like a really bad long term injury. Massive loss, and I think that's going to really hinder us in terms of a top four battle. I know that we've got Maitland-Niles who can play there, and I think it's a great opportunity for him to really solidify a place in the team. I don't want Lichtsteiner playing there. I think maybe at home in a game against Cardiff or Huddersfield, for example, who we've already played this season, Lichtsteiner's fine, but even so, Maitland-Niles is younger, a lot younger. He's got a lot more pace about him, and I know that he probably sees himself as a midfielder, but this is a great opportunity for him to get a run in the team from now until the end of the season, and we know what he can do on the flanks. He's very dangerous on that right-hand side, so it's a great chance for him. And as well, I know people aren't even going to mention his name, but Carl Jenkinson, I mean, he's not looked bad this season, so he's got a great opportunity to become a real contender at right back. So it's really demoralising to lose Bellerin, but we've got to make the best of a bad situation. We've got to be realistic. We're not going to be able to bring in a right back of Bellerin's quality at this stage in the season, especially in January. It's just not going to happen. Considering we've got no money, we can only bring in loan players. We've got to make the best of our resources, and that does involve looking at players like Lichtsteiner, Maitland-Niles, and Carl Jenkinson, and even Osei Tutu in the youth team. So, yeah, it's not a good situation to be in, but he played his part yesterday. He really exceeded expectations, was absolutely brilliant. And the midfield as well, Torreira brilliant, Xhaka brilliant. I thought they dictated the game so well. Guendouzi, who I think a lot of fans, myself, I'll very much include myself in this, have been getting, not necessarily on his back. I don't blame him at all for being put in the starting 11. He's young, he's a rookie, he's a rogue in this game, and I think that is entirely on the manager to continue to pick him. But where he had that added protection with Torreira in the team, and in that formation where you've got him and Torreira acting as the double pivot, I thought they worked really well with Xhaka just behind them. They just really, it's so much energy, and the two of them were just getting across the pitch so easily. You can't forget as well that Torreira is 22, Guendouzi 19. They are just absolutely packed with energy, and it really seemed to suit them. Aaron Ramsey playing just ahead of them as kind of like a centre forward, centre attacking midfielder. He really did link up well with the attack, and tracking back as well, worked tirelessly in this game, and it begs the question as to why we're getting rid of him. I really have to wonder why we are getting rid of Aaron Ramsey. I know that we don't get on with his agent particularly well, but I can't think of a player that's going to come in and replicate what he does. I'm sure there are players out there, but off the top of my head, I can't think of a player that is more suited to that role than Aaron Ramsey. And when he goes to Turin and plays for Juventus, him linking up with the likes of Ronaldo, Dybala, he's just going to be fantastic there. I can't help but feel if he plays in a similar position, is given the freedom to do what he wants to do, he will link up so well with the players in front of him, so he should have a great time out there. And it's a real shame we're losing him, because I look on the bench, I look at Mesut Ozil, and I just can't see him doing what Aaron Ramsey does in the game yesterday. The way he was running back, I don't think you can necessarily teach that or instill that in Mesut Ozil at this stage in his career. He's 30 years old, he'll be 31 this year, and I think it's too late for him to change his way of playing. And it's just, unfortunately, if we're going to concede possession and we're going to have to defend for large spells of the game, he just can't play that way. I've seen him tackle, I've seen him do it on occasion, but he doesn't work as hard as someone like Aaron Ramsey does. So if this is the way that Emery wants to play, then you've got to get Mesut Ozil off the wage bill, as much as it pains me to say it, and bring in a player that's going to fill that Aaron Ramsey void, someone a bit younger, someone that can do it to the exact same level. It's just going to be really hard trying to find that player. Whether Denis Suarez is the answer to that, I don't know. In all honesty, I don't know a lot about the guy, and will someone that we bring in January be capable of doing that? I doubt it. But it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I'm devastated to be losing Aaron Ramsey, but you've got to say he's been professional right up until the last minute of his contract. Not that it's concluded yet, but yesterday he played brilliantly, gave absolutely everything, as did every player. Lacazette and Aubameyang just ahead of the midfield. Aubameyang tracking back and making tackles. Brilliant. It was brilliant from the two of them, but we need to see this every single game. Just because it's Chelsea doesn't mean that we should up our commitment levels. Our commitment levels should always be the exact same, whether it's Cardiff, whether it's Wolves, whether it's Huddersfield. Always the exact same level of commitment, and we will win games. We just can't change our commitment levels based on who the opposition is, because every game is important at this stage. Every game holds as much significance, and you're looking at every team in the Premier League now. The relegation battle is starting to occur. Every team is capable of taking points off another one. It's just going to be really tough this final stage of the season, but if we play in the way that we did, I keep saying it, but we will, and we should be winning games. But it's going to be tough. We've got a very threadbare squad now. Let's not forget Rob Holding's out for the season, Bellerin's out for the season, Mkhitaryan's only just coming back into training, and I think he could be a player that suits that role, just behind the two strikers as well, because we know that he works really hard. So yeah, I mean, we've got options, and it's good to see him coming back. I know that people have been kind of getting on his case this season, but he's going to be very valuable in this last stage of the season. But all round, the goals we scored yesterday were just brilliant. Koscielny was Koscielny of old. He played like he was 10 years younger. He looks really, really good, and if he can sustain that form for the rest of the season, I know he's 33, but he looked class. I know that he's taken a few games to get up to speed, but if he can play that way alongside Socrates, then why not? Naturally, he looks better playing in a 2 than he does a 3. So that back 4 would be what I'd keep for the rest of the season, with probably Maitland-Niles coming in for Hector Bellerin, who's going to be out. So those two, Socrates and Koscielny, look really good alongside each other. Socrates looked like a Greek god, winning tackles. Koscielny alongside him, just playing like an absolute youth. He was fantastic. Not that he's overly old, but he's still, in terms of a footballer, getting on a bit. But I mean, it's great to see him playing that way, and he was thoroughly deserving of his goal. Really good goal that he took, just completely opened up the space between Chelsea and had so much time on the ball. Awful defending from a Chelsea perspective. And Lacazette's goal as well, controlling it so well, dribbling it through the Chelsea defence and rocketing it into the top of the net. Brilliantly taken, and it should have been more. We had that two Aubameyang chances, we 3 Aubameyang chances now I think back, and as well, the times that Kolasinac and Bellerin got so close into the box and just couldn't find that ball into the striker. Really frustrating that we couldn't have got a few more goals in this game. But 2-0 at home against Chelsea, would have taken that. I didn't think we'd win this game so comfortably in the end, so I'm really pleased that we've got the result, and we've got to take this into our upcoming games. From a Chelsea point of view, I would be definitely concerned. I thought they made it very easy for us in this match. Playing Eden Hazard as a false 9, he barely had any time on the ball to dictate play. If he was playing on that left-hand side, I'd have been a lot more concerned. But Willian, pretty ineffective. Pedro was probably their best player. I thought he had that chance on goal, and it would be wrong to not acknowledge the chances Chelsea had. They did have a few opportunities in this game, and on another day, one of them could have gone into the back of the net, but thankfully they didn't. But the most of their chances weren't particularly worrying, especially in that second half. They practically had all of the possession, and we played on the counter, and they just did nothing with it at all. I don't think bringing in a 31-year-old Gonzalo Higuain is going to make much of a difference there either. He's very much similar in the sense to Morata, that he's a confidence player, and just he's just going to be such a short-term solution. His stats at Milan have been kind of the exact same as Giroud's and Morata's at Chelsea this season, so I don't think he's going to be much of a solution. If anything, he's just a panic buy. But defensively, I thought they looked pretty woeful. In the midfield, they just couldn't grasp possession. Jorginho, Kovacic really struggled. Barkley was ineffective when he came on. And they seem to have a lot of problems to answer for. As I say, I thought they made it very easy for us in this match. And Sarri coming out and saying that he couldn't motivate the players. I mean, we talk about ourselves being in a bit of a rut at the minute. They seem to have had a lot of their issues exposed yesterday. And it really will be interesting to see how they finish off this season and what they'll do in the transfer market in the next week or so. So, yeah, exciting times. And if we are going to pip anyone to a fourth spot, I think it will be them. And I do hope that this run of form United are on is temporary. But sadly, I don't think it is. You look at Paul Pogba, Lingard, Rashford, who is looking sensational since Solskjaer's taken charge. They really do look like a definite top 4 contender. It'd be wrong to dismiss them. So it's vital that we beat them in the Premier League. We've got Tottenham away coming up as well. We can't lose that game. And City away, which is a game where I think if we play to the level that we can do, we can get a draw. As I say, I'd love to be optimistic and say we can get a win, but you've got to look at where we are and be realistic about where we are as a team. So a draw at City would be fantastic if we could get that, but we can't drop more points. We've got some winnable games coming up as well. Cardiff in particular is one of them, and I think we've got a few more not easy but easier fixtures coming our way. So got to respect our opposition in every single one of these matches, go full strength. And as well, let's not forget we've got the FA Cup coming up on Friday, which is a massive tournament for us this season. A bit of silverware in Unai Emery's first season. Not just a bit of silverware, but a significant piece of silverware in the FA Cup would be brilliant. It's our competition, it's a competition we love, and Manchester United at home couldn't get any bigger at this stage in the tournament. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I want us to be the team that ends this kind of positive run of form that United are on, and I think that we're very capable of doing it. I wouldn't change a thing about the team that played yesterday. One thing I would say about the lineup is that if we're going to play Mesut Ozil, which I think we have to, considering that he's on £350,000 a week, I would play in those sort of lesser games at home where we can maybe drop Ramsey that bit deeper, sacrifice Guendouzi, for example, play a midfield 2 of Torreira and Ramsey, and then play Ozil in the hole behind the strikers. Could work, because we're going to dominate possession, we're going to have a lot more of the ball, and that could work to his favour, so that's something that I would definitely consider. Whether Ramsey can play in the midfield too, we've seen him do it in his time at Arsenal, making those runs from deep, and that's where he's arguably played best. So I'd like to see how that works out. I don't think Unai Emery is particularly favourable of that. We've only seen Ramsey play as a 10, so high up with the attackers this season, so I'm not too sure how that will work, and I don't think it will be played, to be brutally honest, but it's just a possibility that's crossed my mind. But yesterday was fantastic, and I'm very aware that I'm rambling on now, but so many positives to come out of it and so many negatives from a Chelsea point of view. It really does make for a good weekend. But let's keep this up. We are really in a good position now. We've got the FA Cup, we've got the Europa League, and we're very much in the race for a top 4 spot now, so this can still be, I'm not going to say a salvageable season, but it can still be a very positive season if we get the right results and we end the season strongly. I know there's still quite a long way to go, but there's a hell of a lot to play for, and it could be a very positive first season for Unai Emery. And it does excite me because, let's remember, it's his first season. He's had one proper transfer window. When and if he's given funds to spend, which I sincerely hope he will be, it's quite clear that if that's how he wants to play, we've got the personnel to do it. We need to bring in the personnel to do it, should I say. But considering he's doing it with what we've currently got, it's great to see. So a few more additions, a centre-half, and I think we need to buy more midfielders if we're going to play in this way. I think we've got a team that could really do something quite exciting next season. I know we're still quite a few years off, significantly challenging for the league, but we've got the foundation of a very good team. The only thing that concerns me a little bit is that some of our more vital players, like Aubameyang, for example, is coming into his 30s now. I think he's got all the capabilities to go into his 30s for sure, so long as he doesn't lose his pace. But I'm just looking at some of our To be fair, I say that. The only real area where we've got more of a aging problem is in defence. Koscielny 33, Socrates 30. Apart from that, we're kind of okay. So if we bring in a commanding centre half, and maybe we can get one more season out of Koscielny, and definitely a few more out of Socrates, then yeah, we should be okay for next season. It's just bringing in those powerful, imposing players. A midfielder, a centre half, and a wide man would be great. And let's not forget we've got Reece Nelson coming back next season, and a crop of young talent coming through, Willock and Ketia. Very exciting, very exciting. Emil Smith Rowe as well. So I'm really excited, but we need to keep that up for sure tomorrow. But not tomorrow, but next on Friday. But anyway, guys, please do drop a like on this video if you have enjoyed it. Subscribe to AFC Game by Game if you are new to the channel, and as always, I'll speak to you very soon. See you later, guys.